Hey 8th graders, this is our third and last lesson of week 12. We are on textbook page 385 to 386, topic 8, lesson 1. Let's start off with a little quiz. The temperate zone can be found between a latitude of 30 degrees south and 60 degrees south. True or false? So there is a picture. If there's a picture with a question, always use the picture to help answer. In this case, it's the map of the 3 different temperature zones, and you're looking for the temperate zone. And what it's showing you is it's showing you lines of latitude, and you can see the exact degree on the left. Now, you're going to see a couple zones listed twice because remember that latitude measures the distance north or south from the equator. So find 30 degrees south. There it is. And now find 60 degrees south. There it is. And what zone is in between 30 degrees south and 60 degrees south? I'm seeing the temperate zone, so then that question is true. All right, so the goal for today, guys, is we're going to review pages 385 to 386. So I'm going to read slower and I'm going to pause, and I want you to try to fill in the sentence before I answer the question. If you are having a hard time filling in the questions or you can't anticipate what I'm going to say, then maybe you need to go back and watch lesson 1 and 2 again. If you say an answer and it has the same meaning as mine, but it's not exactly the exact words, don't worry about it. As long as the meaning is still the same, it's okay if we don't use the same words. Let's start off with weather versus climate. So weather is the short-term conditions of an area. So weather and climate are similar but not the same. And I have capitalized the word short because for climate it's going to be the opposite. So can you tell me what climate means? What do you think climate means? If weather is the short-term condition of an area, then climate is the average long-term conditions of an area. So the best way I like to practice if we can understand the difference between weather and climate is use examples. So I'm going to read you an example and I want you to tell me, do you think it's weather or do you think it's climate? Remember, weather is short-term conditions, climate is long-term average conditions. So you pack a winter coat and gloves for your trip to northern Canada. Northern Canada is pretty close to the Arctic, so it can get cold. So if you're packing your winter coat and gloves, are you using the weather to help you pack, or are you using the climate of northern Canada to help you pack? What do you think? Climate. You don't know the conditions for each day, so you might not know the weather report, especially if you're packing like weeks in advance, but you know that the climate is generally cold, so you should probably bring warm clothes. Let's do another example of weather or climate. The sun is shining through your window, so you put on sunglasses before going on a walk. Are you judging whether or not you should wear sunglasses on the weather or the climate? Weather, because the sunshine is a current condition. So even today, in the morning it was sunny, but now when I'm looking out the window, it's cloudy. The weather is changing. Weather is short-term conditions. It can change by the hour, by the day. All right, moving on to how sunlight hits Earth. So there are 2 ways that sunlight can hit Earth. It can hit it spot on, right on target, or a little off target, and we have specific science words that we're going to call that. Do you remember what they are? It is directly and indirectly. Directly means it hits spot on. Indirectly means that it's a little off target. So indirect light reaches use the picture to help you, what part of the globe gets indirect light from the sun? The poles. And direct light reaches again, use the picture to help you, equator. Direct and indirect light causes unequal. So what is different because the equator gets direct light and the poles get indirect light? It causes unequal heating on Earth. The equator is warmer than the poles because it gets direct sunlight. Let's talk about latitude now. are lines of latitude? This was part of your homework from yesterday. What do you think? Lines of latitude are imaginary horizontal lines that go across the globe. So they don't actually exist. So if you were looking from Earth from space, you wouldn't see these little lines drawn around Earth, but we just use them to help us for maps and locations, and they do tell us something. What do they tell us? What do lines of latitude tell us about location? And I need you to think of the equator when you answer this question. Lines of latitude tell us how far north or south a location is from the equator. And based on latitude, which again is the distance north and south from the equator, Earth is divided into 3, what do you think? Temperature zones. Let's learn more about these temperature zones. What are the 3 temperature zones? If you don't know, look at the map and give me an answer. They are the polar zone, the tropical zone, and the temperate zone. I know that word looks like temperature, but it's actually temperate. The temperate zone has a distinct winter and summer because sunlight hits. Remember, there's 2 types of sunlight, direct and indirect. If you get direct sunlight, you get warmer temperatures. If you get indirect sunlight, you get cooler temperatures. So why does the temperate zone have distinct summer and winter? Well, because sunlight's going to hit directly in the summer and indirectly in the winter. So there's going to be a temperature difference within that line of latitude because of which season the sunlight hits. All right, that's it for our review. Let's end with a quiz. The tropical zones are located near A, the Arctic, B, the equator, C, the USA, or D, Antarctica. So there's no picture for this. I just want you to use your knowledge and picture parts of the globe and see if you can answer this. I'm going to get rid of some answers. I'm going to get rid of Antarctic because tropical, when I think of tropical, I think warm. Like if it's a tropical plant or a tropical fish, I know that it needs to live in a warm environment. So I don't think it's going to be like anything that has to do with cold. So I'm going to get rid of Antarctica, and in the same breath, I'm going to get rid of the Arctic because the Arctic is also cold. The Arctic is the North Pole, Antarctic is the South Pole. So correct answer is the equator.